We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast. The German news agency, Transocean, said today the broadcast.
Here's another late development, and this news keeps coming in as we're talking here. Here's other information just in from the
Welcome to the Corner Scribblers discussion panel. We are a small writer support group in the Chattanooga area comprised of writers and storytellers from a wide range of backgrounds and skills. What we're going to do tonight is go down the list of what we have accomplished in the last year since our inception of September 2019, the publications that we have produced. Instead of becoming a critique group like most others, we have actually produced product and publication. Our purpose as the Corner Scribblers is to help each other out, grow, learn in the craft, and to just better it, whether it's by editing, whether it's by helping each other to network, or just passing along the information about a new contest or anthology that's popped up. Our primary goal is to help each other and not beat each other down. You know, we may bleed on the works that we're producing, but we're bleeding for a better progress and a better product.
We're also not above giving each other a good swift kick in the pants to get us moving again if need be. Some accountability is great.
And we are keeping each other accountable by keeping due dates for our quarterly flash collections, for the anthologies that we're producing. All right, I am William Joseph Roberts. I draw pretty pictures of industrial equipment for my day job. I still consider myself a baby author, learning all the way, but I am striving to get to that light at the end of the tunnel and become a full-time writer. I currently have stuff published in sci-fi, fantasy, horror, urban fantasy, and my primaries out right now would be my space opera Flux Runners. I have an alternate history with Canon Publishing called Widowmakers, part of the JTF 13 universe. Wildcat, Foreclosure of a Dream, is part of the Fallen World universe out of Chris Kennedy Publishing, and that should be coming out by the end of 2020. And just recently, I co-authored a novel with Christopher Woods called Smuggler's Run. It's part of Kevin Steverson's Salvage universe, and we have just turned it in. So hopefully we'll see that sometime in the first part of 2021.
Hello, my name is Isaac Kraft. My day job is a designer. I've been with the Corner Scribblers since I started. I've hosted several anthologies with them through Amazon. I'm working on becoming a novelist with several ideas in the oven that haven't come to fruition yet, but hopefully I'll be there soon.
I'm J.D. Beckwith. I am a mechanical engineer by trade. Right now, I have two novels currently published, self-published on Amazon. One is a what I call a techno-thriller / comedy called E-Conscious Beta, and the other is a science fiction space adventure anthology called Horizons Unlimited. Got publications in several anthologies now. Corner Scribblers, plus some planetary anthologies. I write in genres, whatever suits my fancy at the moment. Science fiction is my primary, but I've also done horror, and I even have a story in a chicken anthology that was recently released. I'm just trying to get better and trying to get more work put out there and get my name out there so that people will recognize it and pick it up when I make it.
I'm Jerry, and been with the Corner Scribblers for a little while now. I'm a middle school teacher. Been doing that for about 4 or 5 years. Had another career prior to that in the counseling field, but started writing really when I started teaching. Had summers off, looking for a new thing to do. Called it a hobby then, and it's sort of an obsession now, and become more and more involved and interested in it. And part of that's because I've become involved in groups like this that have spurred me on to greater things. So I'm part of an anthology here, part of an anthology with another group, and then I have a self-published middle grade book. They said, write what you know. So as a middle school teacher, that was my first book, as I wrote what I knew, which was middle school kids, and self-published that last year. And then my second book, I've been writing what I think's fun. So I've been writing a Western dystopian, and I have it finished, and it's going through the edit process now, looking to get it published here, hopefully by end of the year or next spring. So, but that's me, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
I'm Kale, and I write all kinds of things. I've published poetry, short stories, articles, and personal essays. I also do longer form. I do novels and things like that, but I haven't gotten any of them published yet. I've been working on several different anthologies for this group, and it's been really nice to just have my work in print and be able to say that I've been published in anthologies. I think that's been really cool, and it's been really cool to be with everyone and working on that together.
Well, my name is Philip K. Booker. I work in television as a master control operator for my day job. I've been published with pieces for the Corner Scribblers. There's their collections, pros and cons, and napkin notes. More of those to come. I also had releases with a science fiction adventure in last year's Storming Area 51 anthology from Bayonet Books. I've got a whodunit coming out soon from Jersey Pines Press. Jersey Pines Inc. And I've got a hot romance coming from Wild Stallions Press. At this point, it's a dare, and I'll write it.
So the Corner Scribblers, since last September, have produced 3 quarterly collections. Well, actually, we produced the Christmas 2019 Drunken Cranberries and Other Holiday Musings. Our first quarter was Pros and Cons. All the flash fiction in that was based around a convention of some sort with guest author John Drake. All right, as previously stated, we are a writer support group, not a critique. We are within the Chattanooga regional area. Okay, Christmas of 2019, we produced Drunken Cranberries and Other Holiday Musings, a flash fiction collection. Then we turned around and produced our first quarter in March of this year, Pros and Cons, with guest author John Drake. And the primary goal of Flash collection was centered around cons. You know, all the cons that we love, or conventions, for anybody that doesn't know what a con is. And we're all missing our conventions right now because they're all closing down. Second quarter, we did a post-apocalyptic Bugged Out Babblings with guest author Daniel Humphreys. We actually upped the word count on this one to 1,000 words just because we all want to play with a little bit more, get a little more meat in our stories. And then we produced our first true anthology that was about 80,000 words, which was Napkin Notes. And the premise was the story started with primary characters writing something on the corner of a napkin. Our cover art for this was done by our very own Isaac Kraft, and the narration for the audiobooks that we have produced so far, which has been the Drunken Cranberries and Pros and Cons, has been done by one of our own, Ron Broach, who is currently working on Bugged Out Babblings and napkin notes for the audio, and those will be coming out soon. Let's see. Coming up next, and is in editing right now, is our third quarter Dragons and Dribbles, a general fantasy collection. People actually include me. I had a Drake. And then our fourth quarter is going to be Take Me to Your Reader, general sci-fi, alien type stuff. Then we have our holiday collection or Halloween collection that we're putting together now that may release this year, or we'll roll it over to next year depending on our turnout. We have a very short turnaround in order to get this one done. Then we're going to do a small Thanksgiving collection. What was the name we were tossing around? Thank You 2020?
Yep. Go to the next slide there, and you should have all of that in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks 2020. And we're coming up with new little projects here and there, and as we get more stuff together, we're adding to our authors list. Our Amazon pages are starting to build up slowly. Next year, we've already decided on the themes and the theme. We haven't come up with the titles yet. We're doing a steampunk, an invasion, urban fantasy, and a pirate collection next year, with our primary anthology being an eldritch horror, all centered around Phil's story that he submitted to the the Dragons and Dribbles.
Yeah, we booted him to a different one, though we liked it too much.
Yeah, he started a whole other anthology with one story, one little flash piece. So, and that's how we're operating with this stuff. We're producing product. We're trying to get stuff out there to help each other out, learn the craft, get better at what we're doing. The next little section that we're going to come to is, how has the Corner Scribblers benefited you? What have you personally got out of this group and the way that we've been running things, that this format versus the other types of writing groups out there in the Chattanooga area? We know that there's multiple writing groups that have been formed via the Chattanooga Writers Guild. There's sci-fi, fantasy, or there's a general fiction. That's what it is. The Wally's group. There's literary fiction. There's a poetry group. There's a few others I don't remember right off. I think there was a screenplay writers group too. But from your experience in the groups in the area, how has the Corner Scribblers benefited you?
So, as I mentioned before, one of the best parts about Corner Scribblers is that it gives me other people to riff with, bounce ideas off, get new ideas, but it also gives me some accountability. One of my big foibles is that I don't make myself work as hard as I could because I am not yet doing this full time. I need to write more. I've got plenty of ideas. I just got to sit down at the keyboard and do it. And if I've got other people waiting on me for stories, depending on me, even helping with editing and things like that is also pursuing the craft. So that's one of the biggest benefits I've got out of it. Plus a lot of good friends. Really enjoy your guys' company. So
one of the things that have helped with the Corner Scribblers is I actually got published. Small steps in anthologies, but my skills are growing as a writer and as an editor, and never happened had it not been joining the Corner Scribblers, and they're small compared to the Chattanooga Writing Group. I appreciate that group, but the particular genre that the Corner Scribblers write is way more suiting to my fancy. Not much for poetry. I prefer fiction and fantasy, and because of them, I've gotten into H.P. Lovecraft and his brand of horror, and I really love that. And I'm growing as an author because of the Corner Scribblers.
Wait, so you're saying we've corrupted you with H.P. Lovecraft? That's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Yeah, Cthulhu Fatagan.
All right. Well, I have an answer that's similar to that, but a little different. I'd back up a little bit and just say I'm an old guy. I've got kids in their 30s, and so I've had a lot of hobbies over my life. And so I took up writing really as a hobby 2 years ago. I mean, and I said earlier, it's become passion. It's become something I've enjoyed doing. But like, when my hobby was golfing, I never wanted to talk about golf and study golf and not play golf, right? My hobby for a while was volunteer fireman. Well, I wanted to ride the big red truck and go put out a fire, and that was why I was doing it. My hobby was Boy Scouts with my kids. I wanted to go camping. So a writing group that doesn't write just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So the Corner Scribblers is producing. I do enjoy the accountability. I do enjoy the deadlines. I love the camaraderie, love the friendships. But, as much as anything, I love putting out a story. I love getting feedback and learning how to be a better writer as they edit it. I learn how to be a better writer as I edit theirs. I see things they're doing that I'm not in my writing, and I go, man, that's really good. You read a story different when you're editing it than when you're just sitting back and enjoying reading it. And then I enjoy being published and all of that. I enjoy my friends reading it and my family and hearing others who've read it that I'm introduced to, new friends. And it'd be a good piece because several people have looked at it, taken time with it. So that's great. I just absolutely love that process of who we are.
So I'm mostly in it for the money. It's like 5 cents for anthologies. It gives me a lot of confidence to.
Me too, Scott. Where's my check?
Well, you're about right. It might be about 5 cents per person right now when divided out. But hey, we're building slowly, and we are getting page reads. I did look. We did sell a couple of ebook copies of Bugged Out Babblings and Napkin Notes, and we're getting page reads. We've got a few hundred in there now. It's something.
It's really cool as again to be able to see my work in print and be able to show that to other people. I'm in other writing groups and they're good, they're helpful in other ways, but this is the only group I know that is really pushing towards publication. And so I think that's really unique and special.
I've got to say the best part about the Corner Scribblers group has, personally for me, has been that level of accountability, the push to publish. I've been writing off and on for over a decade, and it wasn't until last year, just before I joined the Scribblers, that I put anything out to print. And since then, I've had 2 pieces in the pros and cons, and I've got a big piece that was a big deal for me in Napkin Notes, and also future pieces that we've got coming out in anthology pieces. That's been a big thing for me, is get to put my butt in the proverbial seat and have the people.
Okay. Now, to mention the other members of our group that are not today who have published with it, going down the list, Rachel Kramer, who is stuck at work right now. We know this for a fact because I talked to her. We have John C. Panone, Ronald Broach and Reggie Broach, Christopher Woods, Stacy Harmon, Misty Gutierrez. Yeah. Misty Cat. And anybody at any of the conventions around here will know who she is. Summer, who writes as SL Star. Karen Glitter Monster Harris. And then Michael Gantz, who I think is stuck yet to work for like the next 3 weeks or something because it's just that time of year. All right, now.
And our guest authors.
Oh, and yes, we've had guest authors, which for pros and cons, we had John Drake. For Bugged Out Babblings, we had Daniel Humphreys. We had Terry Maggart do the introduction for Napkin Notes. And each of our guest authors, I have asked them to give words of wisdom, something to pass on to the other authors wanting to aspire to better things. You know, things that they would have wanted to know when they started. Our third quarter for Dragon Scribbles is Rob Howe. And for fourth quarter, Take Me to Your Reader was Dan Hollyfield, which I think we're going to be getting a UFO story out of him. I'm pretty sure. I think he actually sent it to me already. For me, for the Corner Scribblers, the accountability is definitely helping me. It's been lighting a fire under my ass. The edits have absolutely helped my writing. You know, even though we're editing these small flash fiction pieces that, you know, by the time we're done, it's the length of a standard short story. We got about 1,000 words each, but it's quick and easy to edit. You can do it in an evening, really, and you see a lot of progress going on between everybody. I know everybody in the group has progressed, especially Isaac. You know, I'm proud of you, proud of Kel. You both come way up in the last year, and it's just like, wow, we're making progress and we're helping somebody, which is awesome. But definitely with these little collections, it's helping me with accountability, even though I've been late on a few things because of life and my own writing schedule. And JD has stepped in to help with some of the publishing. Yes, I know I was late. But, he's stepped in to help with heading up some of this, so it takes a little load off me because I'm also the head for Three Ravens Publishing, besides doing my own writing and things like that. So things get busy, and then life and kids and babies and work. But definitely the editing has been the number one thing. Everybody else bleeding on my stuff, bleeding on each other's, and then just seeing what's getting caught. You know, seeing how each person sees that piece of work, whether it's the grammar, whether it's the flow, or even a technicality. I mean, we beat the crap out of Jerry when it came down to the science on his Howler story. But I know me and JD, we like tech stuff. We're the tech nerds. You know,
But it was because we loved the story that we wanted it to be good and not have those little flaws that people like us will notice.
and not everybody's going to catch the tech stuff. You know, Meg will catch every one of my commas, apostrophes, and quotation marks that I have left out because I'm just flying along, and I'll miss them. I'm blind to them. It's forest for the trees. But you give me that one little tech spec that that's not how that works. Okay, the gravity's going to be this, and I'm going to find out what the acceleration is. I'm going to give you the formula, and my squirrels go down a whole other tangent. But that's part of the group effort of we're helping each other to see the things. Really, out of all the collections we've done so far, probably my favorite has been my Draven story that I did for Dragons and Dribbles. Because I'm really getting into this character in this universe. I cut my teeth on fantasy with Robert Howard and Conan. And I'm trying to emulate his style and his feel while writing the Draven stories. And doing that in 1,000 words, having a fight scene, but you're also setting the scene of going into this dungeon. You know, that one to me was the most enjoyable out of all of them I've done.
Well, for me, easily it's got The story that I did for that upon promotion takes place in a world that I'm building up as a writing universe, and it helped me kind of like strap things in and get typing on that, which is we write to publish. But that's my urban fantasy. There's a half-fae crime scene cleaner in Chattanooga, and getting into shenanigans of EPD, the electric power board.
I think my favorite was probably Pros and Cons, which is interesting because I haven't been to very many conventions and I didn't think I would have anything to write about. So I started thinking about different kinds of conventions for all these different reasons. And it was really fun to make up an eerie reason that people would have a convention and write a flash fiction about it.
I enjoyed all of them, and flash fiction was very new to me, so that was a good challenge. But I probably had the most fun writing the Howlers one for the anthologies. I'd never written science fiction before, and I'd really not written outside of young adult at that point. And so I really enjoyed the writing. It's a story of a group of miners that have the choice on Earth to either go to prison or whatever, or they can have a little freedom and do a mining college in space. So they end up mining into something they shouldn't mine. And I had just a lot of fun writing it. But really, the reason I choose it as first, even though they said they gave me a hard time, that was in the world of COVID, where we don't get together anymore. We don't get to see each other across the table. That was really where I built some friendships in the group. They sort of bled over my story. I got to know their personalities, got some interaction with them, and really developed some friendship with some people in the group, the editing process. So it's twofold. I enjoyed writing the story, but also it made me feel a little bit more home with the group just because of the process. And it turns out you can learn quite a bit. So I'm not the technical engineer guy, so I did appreciate the work that we had to put into it to make it work.
Well, my favorite has probably been the Benevolence Factory. That one kind of took off in my head. Took a couple of odd turns, but ended up being a really good action adventure story. And it's bled over into a potential sequel. I'm probably going to expand it, in fact. But I have enjoyed writing all of them. Writing the short stuff has been a challenge because I'm usually long-winded on my stories. Trying to keep stuff under 500 words was torture. And the 1,000 is not easy, but it's a little bit better.
I think we all agreed on that one. The 500 was just, oh my God.
Yeah, that was torture.
Yeah.
But I enjoy writing for each one of them because it lets me jump genres and just do different things.
This part, I'm pulled between one I did with Napkin Notes and Dragons and Dribbles. Toward the latter, one for Dragons and Dribbles, Ceaseless Wind. I didn't really need a few days to edit and fine tune it before I turned it in. Steady diet of H.P. Lovecraft, and I like to listen to white noise when I write because there's just something about it. But that probably also influenced me with my writing. Of that.
We, as the Corner Scribblers, really don't have a dedicated home on social media. The easiest way to find all of us in one location would be to go to threeravenspublishing.com, look under the list of authors, and you'll find the Corner Scribblers all listed there with links to their Amazon pages. But other than that, Isaac, where's the best place to find you on the internet?
I'm mostly at a press blog called Pathweaver 34. I've been writing on there for several years. Some of the stories I've written have allusions to what I've published in the anthologies.
Well, my main blog is called wampuscatenterprises.com. It's a WordPress blog, but I've also got a presence on Facebook, BookBub, of course, Amazon page where all of my stuff is published. If you look for me, you can probably find me. Hopefully, this video will have some links where everybody can click on some things. We'll see if we can edit that in there.
So I'm at jerryharwood.com, and Harwood has just got one D at the end, nothing in the middle. Jerryharwood.com, and that also leads you to my blog, circumlocution.net, which when I'm not self-promoting, it's sort of a Dave Barry, Louis Broussard type blog, and enjoy doing that a little bit. You can find me on Amazon, authors page, Goodreads, places like that. The main place is my website, jerryharwood.com. As far as things coming out, I have several things coming into works that I have 2 middle grades and the dystopian that are in draft, and I'm cleaning up right now. But I actually have one that's coming out with 3 Ravens October 1st. That is called 12 Hours on the Block. I appreciate 3 Ravens helping me get that ready to go to press. I started it as a young adult account with the Aztec gods. What would it look like in a modern day prison if some of the cellmates were the Aztec gods of creation? The problem with the Aztec gods is they're just not young adult friendly. So it turned into something else. And I had a lot of fun writing it and appreciate them picking it up. But that comes out October 1st and available for pre-order now. So 12 Hours on the Block.
So it's kind of hard to spell my name. So there you go.
I don't think that's going to show up.
I have a WordPress, but I just use it as a documentation of my publications. So you can go to my WordPress and see everything that I've published there. Or you can connect with me over Facebook or email. They said they'll have links, so I don't have to spell them for you. I don't have anything.
Sorry.
I don't have anything coming out, although I do have a bunch of stuff in the works. But this past summer, I was one of 10 poets in the LA Library's Reflections on Generosity and Thanks, and our fellow corner scribbler John Manoni was in there too. So give a shout out to that.
I have an Amazon author page, Philip K. Booker, and it's Philip with 1 L. I do some work on Facebook with Philip K. Booker author, all one term. Instagram, for what that does for people, Philip K. Booker, and on Twitter I do Pip Booker, PIP.
Okay, and anything coming out in the very near future?
Very near future, next month at the very latest, the Kennedy Press, Wild Stallions Press, hot romance. It's called Men in Uniform, and that is very much not safe for work, or not safe for the little kids at least. Most everything I have is at least okay for mid-level readers or high school readers. And then I have a short mystery coming out from Jersey Pines called the Case of the Lady Bath Flogger.
Okay, so for my stuff, you can find me at williamjosephroberts.com. I am on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, or MeWe, and I might have some others out there that I can't remember right off the top of my head. The next thing coming out should be Wildcat by the end of the year, first of the year. I don't know where the publication schedule is right now and how the cover art's coming along. So I'll find out as that's going with Chris Kennedy Publishing and see where that comes out at. Other than that, just pressing on trying to get the kids' book done next. Okay, so to close things out, what would you like to pass on to other authors trying to take that next step and become published authors?
For me, it is basically learn to make yourself do the thing that you're wanting to do, whether it be writing or whether it be editing or whether it be figuring out how to market things, especially if you're doing things as an indie publisher. Just be ready to learn because it's a continual process.
Isaac.
And find the thing that motivates you. Go ahead.
All right, Isaac, your turn.
Parting advice would be have a teachable spirit and find someone who can critique your stories and tell you what they think of it, and don't be afraid to self-publish.
Oh, that's got to be the first time I've ever heard anybody say teachable spirit. I mean, you got to be willing to learn and take the critique.
Yeah.
But that's
there's
awesome.
a lot of people who think they're top-notch as a writer, but they're unwilling to learn any further than what they've already done.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of those. All right, Jerry, your turn.
That was good, Isaac. That's going to be tough to top. So I'd give a couple pieces of advice. One, get with a group of people, so wherever you are, find some people who are writing. They don't even have to write what you write, but there's momentum, there's accountability, there's encouragement, and it just makes it more fun if you're with a group of people that you can connect with and enjoy, and certainly if they're producing something. Other advice I know you hear all the time is write, figure out how to do that. One thing that's been very beneficial to me is all those things that keep me from writing, checking my Facebook and looking at my stuff on Amazon, all that stuff. Instead of trying to fight against it, I started budgeting time for it. And so I sat down with Peter, I'm going to chase, as Scott says, I'm going to chase squirrels. And so I just timed my squirrels. And so that was a great piece of advice that came to me was, don't beat yourself up when you do that stuff. Just make it part of the pace of life and part of your time budgeting because you want to do that stuff. And then my other suggestion would be keep reading. The more you read, the better writer you're going to be. So just don't ever stop reading and read stuff you love.
And that's one really good thing about what we're doing too, because we're forcing ourselves to read at least once every quarter. Phil, your turn.
Well, all right. What's the question again?
Parting comment.
Yes,
parting thought. What do you want to pass on to those authors who are trying to take that next step? Trying to become published authors.
Really finding a good group of people, and writing groups are a dime a dozen, but find either at a convention or the meetups of social people, your friends, if you are all likewise minded as far as getting art out into the world. But everybody went black.
Yeah.
For me,
Shut down there.
Like one of the things. I've been attending cons for years now, and it did light a little bit of a fire, but having that attention with a purpose was a big kick in the pants. I think it's going to be everybody. Meeting and a good class of people is truly worthwhile. Kale's unmuted. Let's do it.
Finally, we're
All right, Kelly, your turn.
okay. My first bit of advice would be to get a computer better than mine so you can handle group chats on Discord. My second piece of advice would be to broaden your net, like try to think about writing in a bunch of different ways instead of just being set in like one option. I'm in a couple different writing groups. I submit all different genres of stuff for publication. And even just having stuff to work on in different genres helps keep your writing fresh and interesting. So I would recommend just going for it in all different places and not limiting yourself by what you know.
Quick little backstory before we close this out. I spun my wheels in the Chattanooga Writers Guild and some of the fiction writing groups. And at the time, I didn't know why. They were bleeding on me. I'd come home, open up what I'd written, open up my influences like Robert Howard, Robert Jordan, Margaret Weiss, and they're marking all this stuff up. But it's like, this is how they wrote. This is how Tolkien wrote. This is how Howard wrote. But they're marking it up. And it didn't click for the longest time. And the big difference in these writing groups in this area and what I was writing is they're literary. I write pulp. I write sci-fi, fantasy, horror. I don't write literary fiction. I'm not Thoreau. I'm not Hemingway. And that's the big disconnect that a lot of people fight with, and they spin their wheels. And way back in 2012 or so, I think, I originally created a writing group that we were just doing the same thing as all the other writing groups. It was just, whoa. Kel's back. And it didn't work. Life got busy. I had to stop doing that because life got busy. We had little ones. The wife had cancer and all that kind of stuff. But at Next Chapter Con last year, more than a few people that were in my original writing group were asking me, hey, when are we going to start the group back up? And I got to thinking, it's like, okay, fine. If we're going to do that, we're not going to be like every other group. We're going to do something else. We're going to actually do something productive to help ourselves forward. And that's what formed the base idea for the Corner Scribblers, where we're actually producing product. We're doing something productive. Because last year, I opened the doors for Three Ravens Publishing. I had a publishing house that we could publish items through. And, we're selling a few things. We're getting some page reads. It's minimal. And once we get enough cash, enough, pass out cash to everybody. But right now it's minimal. But the main thing is the fact that we're producing product. We're not just spinning our wheels, critiquing each other the same way every month and never getting anywhere. We're actually going for the goal.
It's more than zero.
My one parting, it's more than zero. We're definitely doing something. And I don't think the Writers Guild liked it much when I threw that out at them. But my parting comment to authors who want to try to get somewhere, something that was told to me by Ben Bova when I got sidetracked on the squirrel tangent, thinking that podcasting was my way to promote myself. I got to interview Ben Bova, and the one thing that he told me is, if you're going to do it, then do it. Stop contemplating. Stop talking about it. Just do it. And set your time. Here's your scheduled time. This is when you do it. Stop making excuses. And granted, we had a lot going on at that time, but I did make excuses of these chores have to be done, this has to be done, and that has to be done. And I still do that to an extent, but I try to. I do my chores, and then I get my writing time. I get a little extra 30 minutes or something.
You have people like me bugging you. Hey, you got this done yet? Hey, you got this done yet? Hey, you got this done yet?
But on average, unless I'm just worn out or sick 0400 every morning. I get up and I write till 6 or 7, depending on my work schedule. And here lately, it's been clock into work at 7 because we've been home for COVID. But sit down, do it. Get off Facebook, open up a separate window, and I know, yeah, you got to research sometimes. Get out of the black hole that is social media, because you'll do nothing but sit there and scroll forever, and then, oh, look, all my writing time's gone. Oh, crap, well, I'm not getting any words done. Well, no shit. Stop scrolling. Do it. And quit talking about it, or you're no better than the hipster down at the coffee shop talking about how he's an author. No, you're not until you start producing words and doing it. So, okay, there's my rant. I squirrels.
I feel attacked.
The
Shut up.
hillbilly got me.
Well,
I mean, you're not wrong.
that was one of my biggest gripes with the other writing groups in the area. Is like a lot of people talking about, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and this is the way I want to go with it, and people just aren't doing anything. And I can understand, though. Life gets in the way. We had little ones. She had cancer. Life got in the way. I stopped writing. At one point, I was ready to burn all of my stuff because it hurt so bad up here that I wasn't getting it out. I wanted it to go away. And the only way that I could rationalize was I was going to burn all my notes. I'm glad that she hid them so that it didn't get burned, because I was about ready to. Because now things are 180, you know.
Life's always changing.
Yeah, life's always changing, so don't get rid of your stuff either.
Scott, let me, if I can I add something to that?
Yeah, add to it, man.
I would say, I had a similar thing like when I first got started, just finding that time. And if you're a new author out there and you're trying to figure that out, instead of tackling that great work you want to write first, there's a lot of places. For me, it was Story a Day. There's a website called Story a Day. That's right. And they give a prompt every day for 30 days. And all you have to do is write a story. 200 words, 500 words, 1,000 words. But every day you have to write a story on that prompt. And that was huge for me. And you can get a prompt book, and just do a 2-week run, 3-week run. Make yourself do it. You'll have fun doing it. Some prompts are better than others, but make yourself do it. And then next thing you know, you've built a habit, right? So you do that, and then you're ready to tackle that bigger work, right, because you have the habit of writing. So, and, sorry to interrupt you.
Apelian Web Magazine. Dan Holyfield runs that one, and they're always looking for stories, and they publish them on the webzine. And if you ever want to use it someplace else, you just got to let them know so they can take it down, and then you can publish it elsewhere. But it gives you a place to get it published. But that is everything, I guess. Thank you for listening in and listening to our ramblings. We are the Corner Scribblers. You can find us on threeravenspublishing.com, and look under the authors link. Yeah, look under the authors link, and you can find all of our individual works, our individual pages, and just keep scribbling.
Mistaken at the last breath that was taken.